back to another edition of the MGE Table Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Terrence Turner, and let me first start off by thanking you for listening or viewing. You really could be doing anything with your time, but you took time out to come in with us and pull up to the table. So I want to dive into it because, and you know, we always dive into it. I don't like to give a lot of preambles here and there, but the guest that we have today is someone who, he's been in the music scene for a minute, and it's someone who I've recently started taking in more and more of their music. And I'm proud to say that he's one of the more lyrical rappers coming out of Baton Rouge, and I have a great appreciation for that. I want everybody to welcome my guest for today, Boxx the Hungry Genius. How you doing?
What's up, my brother? First off, I appreciate you for having me, man. It's a blessing. I'm grateful to be here, man.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, when I kind of came to know more and more about your music, you seem to be a very interesting figure. What many people don't know, you're a rapper, but you're also, let me see, what's the proper title of it? A financial advisor?
Right. I guess I like financial coach. When you think
financial
of financial
coach,
advisor,
okay.
It's like people put you in the sales box and they think of you with the briefcase, and I'm more of a coach. I'm going to educate you through your financial situation, you know what I'm saying?
I thought that was extremely interesting, to say the least, to say that, you know, you have this if y'all haven't, take time, really check out his music, because he's an extremely lyrical rapper, but then on the flip side, he's a financial coach. Now, we're going to dive into the music, but we got to tackle it at this first. How did you come about being a financial coach?
That wasn't me, bro. I'm going to be honest. That was our guy. So 7-8 years ago, I was parking cars at the Honda dealership in Baton Rouge, and at that point in my life, I had grinded so many years in music, working the 9-to-5 jobs, where I just kind of had maxed myself out. So meaning that, like, I would work literally Monday through Friday, and then I would always have to have a job where the weekends would be off, because most promoters book you on the weekends. So I did that for 10 plus years, and I built a solid foundation in my city and on the outskirts, but I felt like I just was running in place at that time in my life. So I prayed, I asked God, I'm like, look, I need more time and I need more money to get outside of my city and go touch people and build a real fan base. So I prayed, I asked God to bless me with an extra hustle. And 2 days later, he answered the prayer. I met my mentor, Charles Harris. He was coming through the dealership, and he was a business owner. And basically, make a long story short, he was like, man, let's go have lunch. He sat down with me, showed me the financial business, how to get into the life insurance industry. And he just asked me a simple question. He was like, if I could show you how to, leave your job through this opportunity, would you let me train you? And I was like, yeah, as long as it's legal, you know what I'm saying? And because I'm a hustler, but it was legal, and I told him, I said, if you could promise me that I could leave my job from doing this because I want to pursue music at a high level, I'll let you train me. And he trained me, and I've been in the life insurance industry for about 7 years. I say life insurance, but the financial industry, and it's been a blessing to me, but I didn't see myself doing that.
Okay, now you say, you touched on life insurance as well too, so tell me, what all does it entail to be a financial coach? Like, how are you maneuvering with that? So
basically, you want to teach people how to make money, save money, show them how to get out of debt, and then show them the right places where to put their money. So I would say the difference between, like, maybe a financial coach and a financial advisor, the advisor probably more so was going to say, hey, this is what you need to do, and then they're going to take the paperwork and everything, and as long as you give them the yay or nay, they'll go do what they need to do.
Okay.
With a financial coach, it's like, I'm going to do what the financial advisor is going to do, but also I'm going to educate you too so you can know what I'm doing. So instead of me saying, go put your money in this investment account or this investment account, I'm going to first sit down with you and teach you how investments work. Before I say you need to buy this type of life insurance, I'm going to educate you on the difference between good life insurance and bad life insurance so you can make an educated decision.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the difference with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you say you've been doing about 7 years now.
7 years, man. I love it now. I mean, when I first got into it, I had to gain a passion for it because all I seen was the money. I treated it like a hustle when really I understood it was a business years later. And then I developed a passion for helping the people. I always love helping people. So I thank God put me in the financial industry just to connect with more people, not so much as the money. But You know, you got your plans, and then he got his plans. So
got you. Now,
yeah.
How is the intersection between being a financial coach and being a rapper? You know, how does that? Because I've been to the website, your social media, and you do incorporate a lot of the financial coach side to it. Right. With the rap, I mean, because I see you be having, you be suited, you be suited up, and that's not the average uniform for a rapper.
No, it's not.
To be suited. I mean, you be having the vest. I'm like, I need to step my closet game.
Yeah.
So how does that intersect with one another?
That's hard. I'm still learning how to do that. I make it look good, bro, but honestly, I fought with that for years. I still fight with it. I'm getting better at it. But that's something I've really prayed on, man. Like, balancing those two worlds has just been very tough for me because I think about music all day. And I've never worried about in my life what other people think of me. But honestly, when I got into the financial industry, I was thinking about, because I'm from Sherwood, a hood in Baton Rouge, I was thinking about, like, what, because I'm not going to be looking like a rapper no more.
Right.
So I was thinking about, would they receive the music the same if my wardrobe was different? So I fought that for a lot of years, and my mentor was like, man, you got to stop separating it in your head. He like, you a leader. He was like, you don't need, when you got
you can set your own trend.
Yeah, correct. And I wasn't seeing it like that because I had been in the street clothes and making the type of music that I was making at that time for so many years. I'm like, man, if I got a vest on, if I want to put 2 or 3 street records or just some hardcore songs on my project, will they still receive it the same, Right. And I'm doing better with it, but it's tough every day. But now that's my brand now. So people that know me in Baton Rouge, they now know me from staying consistent. Mm-hmm. Some days I might see Boxx in business clothes. Some days I might see him in urban gear. So now they expect it, you know what I'm saying? Right. But in the beginning, it was a shock. Everybody was like, why do I see him in business clothes all day?
And maybe people are accepting of it more now because, the phenomenon of power. We see Ghost suited up.
That's my dog.
Ghost could be in a suit and then, shoot you. So, hey, you know what? You like Baton Rouge Ghost now. you the Baton Rouge Ghost.
Yeah.
Boxx
St. Patrick. James St. Boxx. No, man, I actually love power, and I would see certain things that me and him would have in common, you know what I'm saying? And I would be like, dang, that's dope. So but it's still a struggle. But now I make it look easy, but in my mind sometimes I'm battling, because when I'm maybe doing a business call or in a business meeting, I might want to write 5 songs, or vice versa. When I'm doing 5 songs, I'm in the studio, I'm thinking about, man, I want to go sit down with a client. So, but I'm learning to balance it better,
Yeah, and I think it's more widely accepted now because of, over the last 20 years when you look at hip hop. I mean, if you look at artists that have come out and have, become more than just artists. They're moguls at that point. I mean, one of the obvious names you got to throw out is, of course, Jay-Z.
100%.
He can be doing a business deal with, this entity or that entity with Sprint or whoever, and then still go in the studio and drop 16 and no one thinks anything of it.
Exactly.
So, I want to say, hey, keep doing your thing and stay in that lane, because I think that needs to be promoted more, where we see you don't have to conform to a certain wardrobe just because you're doing a certain thing. You're doing your art. No one said, well, Basquiat is dressed like a bum today and he has these beautiful pieces that sell for millions of dollars.
Right.
That shouldn't limit your art and how you present it. So, keep doing your thing and stay in that lane.
I appreciate that, bro.
Now, tell me more so about, now we gonna kind of flip over to the music side.
Okay, there we go.
How long have you been doing the music?
15 years would be this year. 15 years. So I started in a group at first. Okay. And then they wasn't serious, but they actually at the time could rap better than me in high school. And then I went solo. Okay. And after I went solo, I got signed to an indie label, Big Faces Entertainment. Shout out to Candace, and she signed me, and that's when my career started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how many projects have you officially put out? And let me say this too. When I say projects, and I use that term because I know there's a difference between an album and a mixtape. And I remember, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. He
that's my home.
He's one of the ones that kind of made the difference in, I'm putting out a project as opposed to an album, because when you're negotiating with labels and things of that nature, they look at your album sales. But if you've never had an official album,
right,
in projects, then you can use that as leverage.
Correct.
So that's why I use the term project.
Projects, right? Yeah. The project that I just dropped yesterday would be my 4th project in my career. I've put out a lot of songs, but I come from the day and age where you kind of put out one project and then you could ride that project for like maybe a year or two and you just release singles off of it. But I mean, hey, it's a young man's game. I'm still young, but the times are different between streaming. So now it's not so much that I'm trying to keep up with them, but I do understand that the way that social media direct the consumer, you got to put out music a little bit more than probably what you know what I'm saying. Now I'm not finna be dropping mixtapes every Friday. I'm not finna do that.
So you ain't gonna throw back the No Limit Day.
No, I ain't finna do that. And I got the work ethic to do it, but it's like I'm an artist, so I believe that somebody needs to sit with the art.
Right.
Even if most people be like, well, Boxx, you need to do 5 songs or EP or 8. I still feel like if you give the consumer 16 or 18 songs, if it's dope and you did a great job marketing, I think somebody will get through it, So, yeah, I still believe in the art and just really just putting out a full project.
Right, and I think if more artists thought like that, the value of music would be at a different level.
Yeah.
Right now, it's such a microwave mentality where it's like people take in music, and 2 days later they're like, okay, when your next one coming out?
Right.
And it's like, have you even really digested the music? So I'm a big fan of bodies of work, as opposed to just you put out a little song here, a song there, and then but where's I want the full complete body of work. So yeah, me and you on the same plane.
So yeah, you like that. So you like the body. Like what type of music did you used to listen to, or that you listen to?
Oh man, I'm a connoisseur, man. I grew up on everything, man. Like my style was very eclectic. So I mean, I could be listening to an 8-Ball MJG album and then switch to Donnell Jones.
Oh wow, I rock with Donnell.
And then flip back up, and then I'm listening to Mobb Deep.
Oh yeah.
And then I might say, okay, I'm done Mobb Deep for the day. Tomorrow I'm gonna listen to some Dog Pound. Right. So I've always been all over the map. But I'm just a fan of just music and what it does to you. I'm one of those people where I relate periods of time in my life to music.
A project.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I can say, oh man, like if a song come on, I'm like, oh, I remember that was summer 04. That's when I was doing this.
Yes, I love that type of music.
Right.
And I don't know if that's still gonna come back like that, And I don't think it's on purpose that it's a microwave society. I think because you got to remember back then, it wasn't Instagram and social media.
It wasn't.
So whatever the major labels and the people that control the media put in your face and your ears, you kind of had to sit with it. But now you got TikTok and Spotify.
Everything is very accessible.
Correct. So it's like, I want to go. If you don't keep feeding me with what I already like from you, it's 20 other artists who just dropped. You know what I'm saying?
And again, so that's why it brings back to my point as far as you being in your lane, right? Because when you're in your lane, you can still do that. Look at an artist like Kendrick Lamar. People are begging him to drop a new album. Now they're willing to wait.
Yes.
Something I've been listening to for the last week since it dropped was the new Busta Rhymes album.
How is it? I'm asking you, how is it? I
like it. I feel like it's something that's very much needed for the times today, because we're talking about bodies of work.
I heard in the studio yesterday, it's very political, but he lyrically getting down on there. You know what I'm saying?
He is. He's reminding us what an album is supposed to be.
Okay, good.
To me, an album is it's almost supposed to be like an event.
Yes.
Where
experience.
It's like right. When you think back to when certain albums dropped, it's like it was a whole event around it. The lead up to it was just, you were anticipating. You used to get the magazines and you see the promo pics for it, and you see a commercial on TV, and you be like, oh man, I can't wait. And then when it finally comes out, it's like it's an experience with it. And this feels like that. And we don't get that very often.
Correct.
So I think certain artists, they have that type of aura around them where it's like when they drop, it's like, okay, this is an event. So that's why I was saying with you, it's like, you may be one of those artists to where you don't have to drop so frequently, because when you do drop, it's an event
Correct.
that you're dropping. It's like everybody's like, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. We've had to eat fast food all year, and now Thanksgiving is here.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, we get this cooked meal.
Right.
That's what it's supposed to feel like.
No, I agree.
So that's exactly how I feel when I was listening to the Buster.
No, I'm glad you said that, because I haven't heard it yet. But when I was putting the finishing touches on the project yesterday, one of the DJs that was in the studio with me was like, your project kind of gives me a feel of the new Busta Rhymes album in terms of the cohesiveness. He was like, if Busta album went off and your project came on, it wouldn't be no dip in like the content and you know, of the music. So I was like, you know, that's a dope compliment. I haven't heard Busta album, and them big shoes to fill, you know. So
huge.
I didn't want to be like, you know, on my high horse. I'm like, man, I appreciate that. That just let me know, okay, maybe I might be working with something that's bigger than my city in terms of marketing the project, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I gotta go listen to that.
Yeah, and now speaking of your project, Pandemic Pressure.
Yes.
I was listening to. I haven't gotten all the way through the project, so full disclosure.
100.
But from what I've heard, the DJ did not lie to you. It is a very cohesive project. I like how it starts off.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you even incorporated. It almost plays like, you know, like a complete story. Yeah. So like the last track that I was listening to was the track with you and Howard on there. You and Howard Hall.
Metaphor Mackin.
Yes.
Shout out Howard Hall and Drill K.
Again, the storytelling.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fan of, when I'm listening, I want to be able to envision what you're saying. I don't want to just, you know, just vibe out, but I want to.
You want to feel like you there.
So the term I will use to describe the project so far is cinematic. That's how I would describe it. It's cinematic.
Wow, man, you made my day, bro. And I can honestly say I was aiming for that, but I wasn't, meaning I was aiming for, I knew that this project was different. It was going to be different than any other projects I've put out. I knew it was going to be something that I couldn't put my finger on it. But I have to give shouts out to DJ PK1 because he executive produced it. So in terms of the flow of, you know, because that's important. Like, what song is going to come behind track number 3 and 4, you know. So he did that. And that was tough for me because I write all my music. I do everything other than mix and mastering.
You had to give up a little control.
Yeah, I'm like, let me, you know, this project, let me borrow their ear and let them do certain things, because I'm very hands-on with my art. And PK put that whole together, the flow of the project. But I knew from the songs I was creating, I'm like, this is going to be a dope body of work, but I just need to know how to get it to the consumers, because we're in a different age where you have to package it different to get it out to the people, you know. So I appreciate that.
Now, and speaking of, you know, getting it to the consumers and the era that we're in now, so I mean, you know, you and I are a bit similar in age. We come from the era where on Tuesdays, you know, that's when the album would drop.
Correct.
You go to the music store.
Yeah.
And you would buy your CD. You get all the packaging and everything. And that's how artists, you know, artists was making a bulk of their money off of sales. Yeah. Now with music being so accessible with streaming sites, downloads and everything, how does an artist maintain as far as, you know, not only the quality of the music that they're putting out, but how do they reap the benefits of it?
Of the music?
Yes.
One of my biggest virtual mentors is Master P. So if anybody following him, he's been preaching product, you know, and ownership a lot. Right. So now the music game has transitioned. It's not about the music, it's about the product. So you might, like, for example, we about to launch the Pandemic Pressure T-shirts and the merch. Right. You know, sometimes an artist could put out a dope project, and like you say, the experience around it to be so dope, the merch, they'll sell more merch than the music.
It sells itself at that point.
You see what I'm saying? So, you know, you got to talk about the merch, the touring. Now the artists are forced to go get money in other ways surrounded around the project versus the project itself, you know, because we're not really making a lot of money off streaming, and you know, most people not buying music like they was back then. The CD was like $18, you know, but now, you know, it's not like that. So we have to go into merch, and we have to monetize from YouTube and views like that. And we have to find ways to monetize like that. But really right now it's the product game. If you can create product around your project, you probably, and then take the money and put it back and invest it back into the company, you know.
Okay.
Chance the Rapper, I learned that from him. He sold the 3 merch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and I'm seeing more and more of that. The music is basically kind of moving the merch for you, in a sense. It's almost kind of like, you know, it's a packaging deal. We're going to put out the album, and then, like you said, you got your merchandise, and the music promotes the merchandise.
The music is because you got a production company, so I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. The music is just a commercial.
Right.
So now it's like this is who I am, this is what I have to offer, and hopefully I can attract outside opportunities, endorsements, placements in movies, movie roles from people seeing the music. So now the music is the bait to make people diversify.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas with me, I'm seeing the path that I'm on is like God has me to where I'm going into the music game diversified, and I don't need music as the platform to be my springboard.
Right.
But I wanted that to be like that, but it's opposite. It's like I'm coming in the machine, but most artists had to become the machine after the music spring them, like the T.I.s, the Jeezus, the 50 Cents, you know.
Right.
But right now, I mean, people like me and you, we study Diddy. It should be no reason why we coming into the game, we not already thinking like the Diddy's and the Jay-Z's, because they've showed us the blueprint.
It's already been laid out.
We should be coming in the game with 4-5 businesses and different endeavors we done already started, versus I just want to rap first and then diversify.
Right.
You know?
Now, you released the Pandemic Pressure exclusively on the Bro app.
Yeah.
Which, you know.
Shout out Scrap.
Right. If anyone doesn't know that is a Black-owned streaming network, just like your Apple Music, just like your titles and all of that as well too. So you release it exclusively on the Bro app. Do you have plans on releasing it like on other sites as well too, once it has a run, or how does that work? Yeah,
so we showing love to DJ Scrap. Shout out to him. That's the home team and the app. So we're gonna keep it on there for about a week or two. Well, it's gonna stay on there, but we're gonna just promote it heavy on there a week or two, and then it'll be released to the Spin Reelers, live mixtapes, Dat Pips, the websites that kind of everybody already know that's built in.
Right.
But we showing major love right now to the Bro app, because I know that it'll be one of those live mixtapes, big platforms in the next, I say 12 to 24 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you say you've been doing the music for about 15 years.
Correct.
And right now you seem to have a lot of attention on you around the city.
Right.
What's the ultimate goal as far as how you see moving to like the next level? Because I know, as you being a financial coach, I know that you're planning on, okay, what's the next step? I'm right here now.
Right.
How do I get here? And how the steps never end.
Never.
So I know what I know that you are making plans.
Yeah.
Let us in on a little bit of that.
The goal is to build a core fan base. It's not so necessary to get signed. Back then we wanted to get signed to a major label, but it's to build a core fan base that's locked into me, where no matter what I put out, if it's of good quality, they gonna not only spend money, but they gonna want to experience from me every time. But then also the goal is to build so much of a core fan base where I have leverage to where I can do a joint venture with a major label. Not so much as being signed, but like Nipsey, I learned that from Nipsey.
Partnership.
If I create that's what I want to do, where you be able to utilize the major labels' contacts and connects, but you still maintain ownership of your music. That'd be dope. But then also a step further than that, how do I bridge the gap between the financial literacy and me being an artist? So my goal is to eventually get it to the point where my fans are getting a real experience, where I'm doing financial seminars by day and I'm doing concerts by night. So imagine somebody like you. Imagine if back then, what's your favorite artist, your favorite MC or rapper?
Oh man, that's a whole other conversation. If I just had to say it off the top, I'd say definitely Nas.
Perfect. That is probably, I didn't even know you was gonna say that. So Nas kicks a lot of knowledge, very lyrical.
Right.
Imagine Nas being a financial coach that's teaching you about money also. But imagine for his next show that's coming up, he's doing a seminar in the daytime where he's teaching you about your finances. But that same ticket that's gonna get you in there is gonna get you in the show later on that night. So you get to see Nas come with the suit and tie. He literally teaching you what's a stock, what's a mutual fund, blah blah blah. He's not using big words to fly over your head, even though he can, because he's a lyricist. But then later on that night, it's like boom, now I gotta get ready for the Nas concert. Like, think of how dope of an experience that would be.
It's a very,
you know
dope
what I'm
experience.
saying? So my goal is not to try to make that happen. I'm gonna make it happen, and where I'll be doing seminars by day and concerts by night, and I could package and I could sell it to like a Essence Festival or something like that. And then the last big thing that I'm doing, I guess you'll get it exclusively. A lot of people don't know about this.
Oh man, we getting the exclusive. Okay, I feel special.
So the name of my record label is Hungry Boy Records, right?
Right.
A lot of people that know me personally know I'm very big on the music industry. So I've been studying the music business for about the past 7 years, teaching myself about publishing, royalties, all of the things that us artists, especially if you come from the streets of the hood, do not know about. Paperwork, entertainment, lawyers, all of that. So I'm gonna start. I'm starting what's called Hungry Boy Coaching University, and I'm playing off the words HBCU, right?
I like that. I like that.
And I'm gonna start educating the artists, giving back, doing consultation, not so much as managing them, but doing coaching, teaching them about, okay, this is how you build relationships. You need to have a jump drive when you go meet with the DJ. Just teaching them foundational things like basically artist development that I had to go through because I came in a game when artist development was important. Even us talking like media training. Our artists don't have that. So we get on platforms like this and you ask a question and we just give a one-word answer. So I feel like my way of paying it forward, giving back to the game, is to coach them. I love teaching.
Right.
So ultimately, that's the main goal, to be doing seminars by day, concerts by night, and then educating the artists in HBCU.
And that's extremely important because, I mean, even if you look at someone like a legend like Snoop, right?
Correct.
We know what Snoop looked like in interviews when he first came out.
Yes.
He was,
raw.
He wasn't looking in the camera. He was looking away,
Yo.
And take that now as, where he is now, where it's like he loves the camera. He knows how to operate. He knows how to answer these questions.
Correct.
I think media training for artists is extremely important too, because that way you won't have artists getting jammed up saying things they shouldn't be saying.
Right.
I know, there's always a lot of talk when artists go on platforms like Vlad TV.
100%.
And they'll just...
My mom say, don't you ever go on this. Like, my mom already knows I'm going to be like big. She be telling me, she like, if they ever reach out to you, don't go on the platform. I'm like, well, golly, Mom. I'm media trained. Like, I do want to go on there because it's a certain following, but a lot of people get jammed up on this platform.
Exactly. And I think that, if they had more, like you said, artist development, where it includes media training, where it includes, how to conduct yourself in an interview, where it includes how to, be at different award shows and things of that nature. I mean, even if, it makes me think back even when, if you look at like the BET Awards and how people come dressed there, but when it's the Grammys, they go a completely different route. And you say, well, why is that? Why are we handling this platform in this way and this platform in the other way?
Right.
So I think that's extremely important, and that's something I'm pretty sure you'll cover in your HBCU. Yeah. And as HBCU grad, I appreciate you using that.
I knew you was gonna get it, man. I think, and that wasn't, bro. It's God, man. I thought of that, I thought of that, but it was really him who gave it to me. But I'm serious about that, bro. And you'll be one of the first people that I tell about it, because maybe it'll be a way. It's certain things you done seen from a production standpoint that you might be able to like, because my goal is to bring different teachers from all walks of life into HBCU, production people, DJs, where they can kind of give their perspective on the game from their perspective. I could relate because I could talk from an artist perspective,
right?
But you got a totally different lens. You might get on stage and say, hey, on a panel we do together, you might be like, hey, man, showing up on time is very important. I'm shooting stuff with artists, but they show up late, or people, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Small stuff, minute things that makes a big difference. So
Right. Yeah. And look, I would love to help out. So whenever it's launched, hey, you got my information. I'm there.
100.
I'm always looking for a way to play it forward with people. I think it's been too much of, once you obtain a certain level of knowledge, you hold on to it, and then you got 5 other people coming behind you like, nope, I ain't gonna share it with them.
Yeah,
like,
I've never been like
I've
that.
always been the person where it's like, if I know it and I see that you're serious about it and you come behind me, oh yeah, I have no problem sharing it. I'll show you how to work a camera. I'll show you how to set up a mic, whatever you want, if you're serious.
Correct.
You got to be serious, because don't waste my time.
Right.
Because time is the commodity that you cannot get back.
You cannot get back. And I think a lot of people don't know that. And if for anybody that's listening or even looking at this, I can't stress this enough. Man, it might be tedious, but go learn the music business.
Yeah.
Like, that's the tedious part. I get it. We the artists. We think about the art. And I always shout him out. Shantae on the track from Baton Rouge. He told me years ago, he said, you are a dope MC, but he said dope MCs usually don't make it. And he said, and he scared me to go learn the music business. He say, it's not because y'all not dope. It's because y'all focus on the art and never focus on the business.
Right.
So for anybody that's listening and looking at this, man, go learn the music business, you know what I'm saying, and really understand what it is. You don't have to do everything, but go learn it and then delegate so you can put people in position to help you. There's too many horror stories out here of people in bad contracts, and we have the talent in Baton Rouge, but nobody is guiding us and leading us, we just kind of figuring things out on our own.
You bring up the talent of Baton Rouge, and shout out DJ Scrap. We did have him on Table Talk as well, too.
Shout out to the homie, man.
And he made mention of the immense talent that Baton Rouge has right now. Mm-hmm. It made me think of something because when he and I were speaking, and I wish I would have said it then, but I'm gonna say it now.
Yeah, okay.
I held on to it.
Right.
But if you look at like the Baton Rouge scene, it kind of makes you think of where's another hub when you think of hip hop music, rap music in general. Where's a hub where it's like this little section right over here? Look at all the talent that came out of it, and you know what I think about?
What?
Queens. If you look at all you got LL Cool J comes from Queens.
Okay.
Mobb Deep comes from Queensbridge.
Right.
Nas comes from Queensbridge. Like, Noriega is from around that area. If you look at just
shout out to
in this little sector of New York, look at all of the people that came out of that, and then what's comparable to that. And I look at something like a Baton Rouge. Kind of like that, because if you look at all the talent that's come from Baton Rouge, I mean, that is hit nationally, regionally, however you want to classify them, but it's there.
Right.
What is your take on the scene of Baton Rouge as far as the music scene?
Well, to touch back on what you just said, I think the key factors in the Queens and everything you said, and even when you talk about Atlanta, right? I think, and I've been preaching this for a couple of months, I think what they have that we just don't have yet that we're building is they just had platforms. They had opportunities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Atlanta at one time wasn't running the game at first, but then you had LaFace Records and then the Dungeon Family, and once platforms started getting started, then it was opportunities. Now we have our artists and people leave from their cities to move to Atlanta to get signed, or to Cali, or the major record labels are in New York. So if the major labels are in my backyard and I'm a dope MC from Queens, it's very easy to go. So I think what Baton Rouge is missing is just the platforms, but that's why I'm promoting DJ Scrap, the Bruh app. That's a platform. That's why I'm starting HBCU, because think about if artists had something where they can go through coaching, then they can go holler at Scrap to put their project out. Somebody like yourself who has a dope, platform.
Build your own infrastructure.
Boom. And I done did real talk, not to deviate from your question, but not to talk about myself, but I've done 7 or 8 podcasts.
Oh, no, talk about yourself. That's what we're here for.
Right, but I'm going somewhere with it, right? So I've done 7 or 8 podcasts in the past 2 weeks. One was in New Orleans, but everything else was local. So it's okay, boom, we are doing we're creating our own breakfast club, Hot 97, to where artists can come from Atlanta and they got to stop at Table Talk and holler at you. Mm-hmm. They got to go stop at whoever else's podcast. They got to go stop at Bella Noche, holler at Q, do it. So we have the platforms getting created now to where artists going to want to start to move here, and I think that's where it's going in the next 3 to 5 years. But to answer your question, the untapped territory here is like oil. I think we have some of the most dopest artists here, but because of no platforms, and because of like just the ignorance of the music business and things like that, we don't know what to do, where to go. We don't know how to conduct ourselves. Even if we run across somebody of importance, you know, we coming with the in Baton Rouge. So yeah, man, I'm the rawest dude ever. We giving the CD out. We giving them a CD with our ink written on it. Like we don't understand. You know what I'm saying? When you go to New York and Atlanta, you automatically understand you gotta have your ducks in a row, because you might run into Barry Gordy, or you might run into L.A. Reid or somebody like that. Right. So it's untapped territory. We have some dope artists here. They not just MCs. We have a lot of dope artists. And I just really feel like we finna become the new Mecca. I really truly believe that, you know.
Now you made mention of the Dungeon family.
Yeah.
And when I had Scrap here, he and I spoke even about the Screwed Up Clique. Mm-hmm. These are two examples of collectives. You know, so when we talk about how, you know, if you look at the Houston scene, you look at the Atlanta scene, even if you're looking at the Queensbridge scene, out of New York, they all kind of had unofficial collectives. They all kind of worked better together. Right. Do you feel like that's lacking in the Baton Rouge music scene, where it's like maybe there's not, because, you know, the Dungeon family is a collective of, you know, you got Goody Mob, you got Outkast, you got
the last person to come from them off they cloth was Future. You know what I'm saying?
Future, Killer Mike.
Yes.
You know, was Dungeon family affiliated.
Yes.
You know, you have, but that was kind of a collective. If you look at the Screwed Up Clique, you know, the last inductee was what, Lil Flip?
Right.
But you know, you had Flip, you had Zero, you got, you know, all these, and then from that they even made another collective on the north side with Swisher House.
Right.
You got Slim Thug, and you got Paul Wall and Chameleon there, and all of these people.
Right.
There's no real unofficial collective in Baton Rouge. Do you think that that's slowing down the progress?
I wouldn't say that, because I'm always looking to be optimistic and positive. Even if that was the case, I just think it's certain things, and I can't put my finger on it, but I do know certain labels and certain movements that have been started in Baton Rouge, they just kind of focused on themselves, you know. Right. One, rest in peace to the homie Nissy, one of his things he would always champion was he gonna leave the door open, when he get in through the door, you know. And that's one thing I seen when Nissy just kind of came out of nowhere. When I was just kind of opening up, I opened up for Nissy a few times. I would see that he was great at building a team like Master P, but even when he would start the teen clubs and things out here, he would let so many artists come and perform, and you know. So I think we've just never had, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, any OG or people who've had opportunity of big platforms in Baton Rouge leave the door open. I think has always been a every man for himself, because I built it out the mud, and I get it. If you build something from scratch and nobody helped you, sometimes it's like you wasn't around, so I'm gonna only take care of my people. Right. But with me, I'm able to see from, you know, the Kevin Gates come through, the Boosies, the Webbies, the Trills, and I'm able to look at those people who've inspired me and say, okay, what can I do different from them? Because I've already taken notes out of their pages and their books, like, to help me. But I'm like, okay, when I make it out of Louisiana, what are they going to say about you? What's going to make you different? And one thing that I know that I want to be said about me is he pays it forward, and he looks out for the artists. Not saying those other artists didn't. I just wanted to be known that, okay, he's a teacher. And that's one thing Jay-Z is. You hear anybody talk about Jay, any artist, they like, he always dropping gems on us. So I want to be known as that Louisiana artist that's a dope MC, make dope hit records, but man, he also don't mind giving that information. He don't hoard it, you know?
Right.
You know, so that's what I see.
And the more and more we talk, and you know, and as you were talking about it as well too, but actually I think we might actually have that unofficial collective within the Bra app.
That's what I'm saying.
So shout out to DJ Scrap for that.
Right.
But I think, you know, and it's just my opinion, I think once that's curated more, I think people will really start seeing where the Bra app is going.
Yes.
And I think that maybe they'll start getting into more of a collective mindset, and I think they'll figure out that, you know, one finger can do one thing, but what the old woman from Soul Food said, but you close it up, it's a mighty fist.
Right. No, you right. And I want to, shout out to DJ Scrap, man. Real talk. Like, I know he been watching us work and grind, and you doing your thing and I'm doing my thing, but I've been watching him, and like, he's really building something. And I know people probably don't see what he's doing behind the scenes. Like, I'm seeing him pull up in his same car at these different venues around Baton Rouge with his laptop, and he's trying to build the Bruh app, the platform. So it takes that one person to say, you know what, I'm going to go against the odds and I'm going to do something for the collective, like you say, because he could really just go get a bag anywhere, you know, but he's choosing to build something for our city. And I see the late nights, me pulling up here last night to give him my mixtape, and I know he probably was in here interviewing with you, but he like, Boxx calling me, but that's what the grind about when you're trying to build something, and it don't get built overnight. So shout out to him. I just want him to know, man, I'm watching him, and man, I'm supporting the Bruh app 100%, and anybody else, they need to go download it for free right now, you know.
Okay. Now, you got Pandemic Pressure playing right now.
Yeah.
That's out.
www.voteforboxx.com is on the website.
Okay, now see, you brought that up too, and see, I was getting ready to head to
okay, there you go. All right, I'm jumping the gun.
No, but it's good. It's very good segue. See, that media training, I see.
Hey, man.
HBCU.
Hey, HB. There you go, bro.
But so, tell me, how did you know? Because I've been to the site as well too.
Yeah.
How did you come to the plan of doing the Vote for Boxx and kind of have like the candidate thing going on with the pandemic? How did that kind of come to fruition?
Years ago, when I was signed to the indie label Big Faces Entertainment, I did a campaign back then, but it wasn't tailored this dope. So shout out to my campaign manager. She's amazing. But
the campaign manager.
Yeah. I told her what you said last night. I say, man, I don't know what you emailing these people about me, but I say, man, every time I get to an interview, people like, man, they got notes galore. You know what I'm saying? I say, look, don't even show me what you email people about.
She's very thorough.
Yeah. So salute to her. She like being behind the scenes. She don't like being seen or her name being heard, but she knows she is, right? But what was the question again?
How did that come to fruition as far as tying all that together, the campaign and the pandemic and all that? Like, everything is just so right on time, but it doesn't feel like it's like, oh, this is going on, let's just throw it out there. It feels very, very
strategic and planned.
Like you were very methodical with that.
Correct.
Tell me, how did that kind of come to fruition with you?
Years ago, I did something like that, but it wasn't tailored towards the suit and tie. I was like in kind of like, I did like the U.S. Arm, like Uncle Sam where he pointing. I did that, and I had a 1-800 call Boxx number, and that worked in that time. But I say, let me revisit this idea, but let me make it look so organic that even Mel Weston Broom or somebody that's running in office think, okay, who is this person on this, that is he gonna be on the ballot? I wanted it to be that
right, because
organic.
It looks extremely authentic. I'm like, is he
running? And what is pandemic president? Like is that a real? Because you always looking for, like, when I went to go vote the other day, it was the judges and different things.
Right.
So it's like, I wanted people to be like, okay, pandemic president, is that on the ballot? You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be but we was sitting down at TJ Ribs, and I say, man, I think this is dope. People are already, like, it's already built in mentality they in the voting mentality right now. So I say, instead of going against the grain, let's just go with the flow. They already in voting. Let's make it like I'm running, but I'm running for pandemic president, and I'm gonna lead the people just like the president would, but I'm gonna lead the people through my music, through the pandemic. And I really felt like at this day and age right now, we don't have really good leadership to choose from, in my personal opinion, with the presidency. So I'm like, let me lead the people my way.
That's a whole nother
story, right? So I don't try to get too much outside of what it is that I'm used to. I'm not finna go out there and just be doing some crazy stuff where people like, that ain't Boxx. It's like, okay, if art is what I love to do and art is one of my strengths, then let me lead the people through pandemic, through my art, which pandemic pressure, and then that's how I came up with the campaign. So we still campaigning, even though the presidency over. We finna campaign through the whole pandemic. You finna see yard signs and everything, bro.
This man said yard sign.
Yep,
okay, I can't wait to see the yard sign.
Pandemic.
So I'm gonna put one up my yard.
God, yard sign. My son coming with me. We gonna have a it's finna be really like a real. I'm gonna make people go to their website.
Okay. Now, the other thing that I've noticed too, just from looking at vignettes on your website, because you have video, you have behind the scenes. Correct. And everything like that, and even in our conversation today, you have brought up a lot with your faith.
Yeah.
How does that, how did that develop? Have you always had it? Kind of speak a little bit about that as far as how's that playing into what you're doing on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I got that from my mom and my grandmother. So my grandmother was an evangelist. My mom, she's always been a woman of God. My mom is actually a prophet, so it's like it have been times in my life when my mom would tell me something that's finna happen miraculously for me at a specific time, and it'll happen. Like my mom and already told me, she said, God then already showed me that you're gonna be big in the music industry, but you're gonna be different and you're gonna do it your way, you know. So it's like I've always had that confidence, kind of like a cheat code, but my faith specifically comes from my mom. She always taught me at a young age to go in my prayer closet, and I probably hadn't. Trust me, I haven't always act like I was saved. I done did my thing out here and did things.
We all have our moments.
Yeah, I done did a lot of things I ain't had no business, but you know, for the most part, I always know in times of not just bad times but good times to go talk to God. And you know, I did a lot of praying even through this project, man. I actually got COVID in July.
Really?
You know, yeah, in the middle of making the project. So. And I had every symptom, and then I got asthma, so it was like my breathing was heavy, and it was like real crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, God, you know, what's the odds of me creating a project called Pandemic Pressure, and then I get COVID? And I was taking the necessary precautions when I left my house every day, but I felt like, you know what, I say, nothing happens to you, it happens for you. So I felt like, you know, if I'm creating this project, maybe this was needed. I ain't gonna say he gave it to me, but it was needed. He allowed it, so I can relate to more people through the pandemic. You know, I can say, hey man, I know you probably lost a family member. I had it. I can't relate to losing a family member, but I had it, and I felt like I was finna die, you know? So my faith has always been strong no matter what. I done had things happen to me in my life where it could have broke me, but it never broke me. I just always knew, okay, God gonna pull me through it, and I've always understood if something happened to me and I caused it, to take full responsibility and deal with my consequences like a man, but I also know that my faith still couldn't leave me. So I'm very strong on that, bro, and you know, I pray before my interviews, I pray before my shows, so faith is just always gonna be with me. And I think, you know, that's not seen as cool sometimes in the entertainment industry unless you're a gospel artist, you know. And I don't consider myself a gospel artist. I used to be a street artist, but my music has gravitated, you know, it has evolved, so I'm more of an inspirational hustler. I make hustler music. So, you know, with that being said, sometimes the persona is I might not need to talk about God a lot and say the word faith because that might seem corny. Well, with me, man,
I'm being very authentic, and that should be appreciated.
Yeah, and a lot of artists pray, whether they talk about it or not, because guess what? When they go to the Grammys and all that, who the first person they thank? They thank God, but it's like through them press runs and everything, and you wasn't talking about that a lot. And you know, and you gotta have somebody that you turn into a higher power, whatever, because none of this is just happening by mistake. Everything is divine, and all the footsteps are definitely ordered in your life, you know. So yeah, my faith is very strong, but it comes from my mom and my grandmother. That was my foundation, and that keeps me grounded no matter what, you know.
Boxx the Hungry Genius.
Yeah.
All right, give us some last words as far as where they need to go, what they need to expect from you.
Yeah.
Just let everybody know what's, cause I tell y'all this. Look, the project is fire. I told him, look, I ain't made it through the whole project, but from what I've heard so far, cinematic.
I appreciate that, man. I receive that. You can follow me at Boxx_Hungry on Instagram, but really to kind of just get everything centralized, www.vote4boxx.com. And I just want to say, man, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the people that's watching. My goal is always to teach, to educate. I kind of already know I'm gonna be all right, but if I can always give back when I'm on people's platforms, because so many people have poured wisdom into me, and I felt like my way of paying it forward is to give back anytime I get an opportunity. But the last words I would say, man, like I say, I can't stress it enough. If you're an artist, go learn the music business. If you even not an artist, whatever lane you're trying to get in, go educate yourself. You know, and on top of that, I would just say, you know, always bet on yourself. That's what all bets on me is on my project.
I listened to that this morning too.
Okay, great. Bet on yourself, man. I think we lose sight of that, but this pandemic has woke us up, especially the African Americans. So I would say the last words is bet on yourself. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Yes, it's gonna be rocky. Yes, when you make that jump with the parachute, it might not open up all the way when you jump, but betting on yourself is the best decision you're gonna ever make in your life, investing in yourself, because the return on the sweat equity is gonna be way better than you just kind of playing it safe. And like I posted on Instagram the other day, there's no such thing as a real safety net. You have to become the safety net. So that's what I lead the viewers with, man. Always bet on yourself.
Man, dope. Boxx the Hungry Genius, I appreciate you coming through.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Y'all remember, it's only two people. It's only two types of people in this life. Either at the table or on the menu. You decide which one you're going to be. We'll see you next time.
What's up.